Welcome, dreamer, to Evernight Stories, where night whispers become stories, and stories become dreams. Take a deep breath, and let's wander together into the quiet. Tonight, we wander to the edge of a quiet valley, where the hills breathe softly beneath the first shimmer of starlight. The day has folded itself away, and the world is settling into its gentlest rhythm. The air still holds a trace of warmth from the sun, but night is gathering, wrapping the fields in silver blue. Somewhere in the tall grass, a bell rings faintly, not an alarm, but a heartbeat. The flock is moving slowly now, each woolly shape glowing pale under the deepening sky. The shepherd walks behind them, her steps unhurried, her lantern swinging a small circle of honeyed light across the path. Her name is Maeve. She's young enough to still notice beauty, and old enough to find peace in silence. The trail winds upward, the earth soft beneath her boots. A faint wind passes through the heather, and the scent of it, dry, sweet, familiar, reminds her of summers long gone. The sheep drift ahead, bells chiming softly as they climb. When they reach the ridge, Maeve pauses. Below her, the valley stretches wide and still, its rivers gleaming like ribbons of glass. Beyond the farthest hill, the sky is filling with stars. They bloom slowly, one by one, until the whole horizon glows with quiet fire. She stands there for a while, listening. The wind hums through the grass. A distant owl calls once, and somewhere down the slope, a stream moves with a sound, like whispering silk. Each sound blends into the other, until the night feels alive. Not loud, not busy, just perfectly awake in its own way. Maeve lowers her lantern and smiles. This is the hour, she thinks, when everything remembers how to breathe. Her dog Finn trots up beside her. His fur catches the lantern glow, turning from black to gold to shadow again. He looks up at her as if to ask whether it's time to rest. Almost, she murmurs. He sits, tail brushing the earth, and the two of them watch the stars appear in silence. They've done this every evening since the summer began. Each night, Maeve brings the flock home, lights her lantern, and waits until the last light fades. It's not a rule, just something she's always done. The kind of rhythm that keeps the heart steady. She moves down the slope again, calling softly to the flock. Her voice is gentle, low and sure, like someone singing a song without words. The sheep follow, their small bells chiming in answer. The sound carries through the hills, reaching the brook that runs along the meadow's edge, then fades back into the grass. By the time they reach the pen, the sky has turned dark blue, deep and clear. The first few stars have become hundreds, and each one reflects faintly in the lantern's glass. Maeve opens the gate and guides the flock inside. They move without hurry, filling the pen with soft rustles and the smell of wool and earth. Finn circles once, makes sure every one of them is safe, then lies down near the fence. Maeve hangs the lantern on the same post she always does, just high enough for its light to spread across the grass. From the valley below, it must look like another small star, floating close to the ground. She leans against the wooden gate, hands tucked in her coat sleeves, and lets the quiet surround her. The hills roll away into darkness. The sky stretches wide and endless above. Her breath forms small clouds in the air, rising, fading, disappearing into the night. There is peace here, the kind that doesn't ask questions, doesn't need words, only a lantern, a flock, a sky of patient light. Maeve takes one last look at the stars. They seem closer tonight, as if the heavens have bent just slightly toward the earth. She feels something small and steady settle in her chest, a feeling that everything is exactly as it should be. The lantern flickers once, then steadies again. Finn sighs softly in his sleep, and Maeve smiles, listening to the sound of the night, breathing beside her. Each night unfolds the same way, and that sameness feels like a promise. Maeve checks the gate twice, once with her eyes, once with her hands. The wood is cool beneath her fingers, rough where rain has worn it smooth. She presses lightly, listening to the faint creak, a sound she knows better than her own voice. The sheep are quiet now. Some stand close together, their breath rising in soft clouds. Others lie down in the straw, their eyes half closed, their chests moving with the rhythm of sleep. She walks along the fence line, her lantern casting slow-moving light across the grass. Every few steps, she stops, not to fix anything, just to notice the smell of wet earth, the way the wind curls through the reeds, the way the stars seem to tremble when reflected in the lantern glass. Finn pads behind her, his paws soundless in the damp soil. When she stops, he stops. When she moves, he moves. They've learned each other's silences well. At the far end of the field, Maeve kneels to pick a burr from his fur. "Hold still," she whispers. He does. Her hands move gently, as if she's mending something more delicate than wool. When the lantern light catches his eyes, they glow like pieces of amber in the dark. For a heartbeat, she sees her own reflection there, small, tired, but content. It makes her smile. She straightens, glances over the flock one last time, and exhales slowly. The ritual is simple: to see, to care, to breathe. And as the lantern sways in the quiet air, Maeve feels the night settle around her, like a blanket that remembers every heartbeat within it. Maeve sits on the low stone wall by the gate, her lantern resting beside her feet. The flame sways gently, its light dancing across her hands, her face, the wool of her coat. Above her, the sky stretches wide, a sea of dark velvet pinned with 1,000 silver lights. They look close enough to touch, as if the world has turned itself upside down, and she's sitting at the bottom of the sky. She remembers how her father used to name them. On summer nights, he would lie in the grass with her, pointing with a calloused finger. That one, the North Star, steady and patient. And there, the shepherd's constellation, the one who guards the wandering flocks of heaven. He told her once, "The stars don't only guide travelers, Maeve. They guide those who stay too. They remind us we're never truly alone." She was a child then, too young to understand. But now, as she sits among her sleeping sheep, she feels the truth of it settle deep and quiet in her chest. She tilts her head back, breathing the cool air. The stars pulse faintly, not cold, not distant, just watching. The lantern flickers in answer, as if the earth itself is whispering back to the heavens. And Maeve smiles, because she knows the sky has been keeping her company all along. A faint sound breaks the stillness, a bleat, high and trembling, carried thinly on the wind. Maeve lifts her head. The flock shifts but doesn't stir. Most are already asleep. Only that one voice keeps calling, small, frightened, somewhere beyond the fence. She stands, lantern in hand. Its light stretches long across the grass as she follows the sound toward the brook. Finn moves at her heel, ears pricked, nose low to the ground. The meadow narrows where the stream bends, and there, caught among the reeds, is a tiny lamb. Its wool is damp, tangled with burrs, eyes wide in the darkness. Maeve kneels, setting the lantern down beside them. The light gathers on the water, turning ripples to gold. "Easy now," she murmurs, her voice low and steady. Her hands work gently, freeing the little creature from the reeds. When it's loose, she lifts it carefully, feeling its heartbeat flutter against her chest. Finn circles once, sniffs the air, and relaxes. The lamb bleats again, softer this time. Not fear, but relief. Maeve smiles. "There we are," she whispers. "Let's go home." She walks back through the grass, lantern swaying beside her, its light spilling upward into the sky. And above, the stars seem to glow a little brighter, as if they too have been waiting for this small kindness. Maeve sets the little lamb down inside the pen. It wobbles once on its legs, then nestles into the straw beside another sheep. Finn circles the fence one last time, satisfied, and settles at her feet. She closes the gate, hangs the lantern back on its post, and exhales a long, soft sound that disappears into the night air. Now there is nothing left to do but listen. The hills hum quietly beneath the sky. A cricket begins its song somewhere near the stream, and another answers from farther away. The rhythm builds, slow, steady, a music made by things that don't need to be heard. Maeve sits on the old wooden stool near the fence, pulls her coat tighter, and pours hot water from her kettle into a tin cup. The smell of chamomile and smoke fills the air. Steam drifts upward, curling into silver shapes before dissolving. She holds the cup between her hands and smiles faintly. Her father used to say that tea made under the open sky tastes better because it carries a little of the air itself. He'd been right. It's a simple comfort, but tonight, simplicity feels holy. She watches the steam fade. The flame of the lantern sways. Finn snores softly beside her, his fur rising and falling with each calm breath. Maeve tilts her head back toward the stars again. They seem closer now, so bright she could almost imagine hearing them sing. Perhaps they always have. Perhaps the whole world hums, quietly, if one sits still long enough to notice. She thinks of how many nights she spent like this, alone but not lonely. There's a difference, she's learned. Loneliness is when you can't feel the world around you. Solitude is when you finally can. She remembers the first night she ever watched the flock alone. The air had been colder then, The stars sharper, the hills wider. She'd been nervous, listening for danger in every sound. The snap of a twig, the rustle of leaves. But her father had told her, "You'll know the difference between danger and life if you stay quiet long enough." Now, years later, she understands what he meant. The world isn't out to frighten us. It's just trying to speak in its own language. Her gaze drifts across the field. The sheep are asleep, each one a small white hill beneath the sky. They breathe in unison, a soft rising and falling that sounds like the tide. The night breathes with them, the grass swaying gently to the rhythm of sleep. She takes another sip of tea. It's cooled now, but the warmth lingers in her chest. She remembers her mother's voice, telling her as a child that stars are just promises that never forgot their light. Back then she didn't believe it, but now she thinks maybe her mother was right. Promises don't always need words. Sometimes they're just the quiet things we do every day. Lighting a lantern, checking a gate, waiting for dawn. Each small act says, "I am here," and that's enough. The air thickens with mist. It gathers along the edges of the fence, glows faintly in the lantern's light. For a moment, it feels as though the stars have come down to walk the earth. Maeve closes her eyes. She listens, not for sound, but for stillness. The longer she listens, the more she can hear the slow pulse of her own heartbeat, the rustle of wool against straw, the echo of wind moving through far-off pine. It all blends into one steady rhythm. Like breathing, the breath of the world itself. She wonders if the stars ever sleep, or if they too keep watch, silent shepherds of the night sky. The thought makes her smile. She imagines them scattered across the heavens, each one tending to its own small corner of light, just as she tends to her flock below. Her thoughts drift like the mist, soft and wandering. She thinks of people she's known, friends who moved to distant cities, neighbors she no longer sees. She wonders where they sleep now, what stars rest above them, and she hopes, quietly, that they feel safe tonight. A faint breeze moves through the meadow, ruffling her hair, carrying the scent of rain from somewhere far away. The lantern trembles but holds. The flame bends, then steadies again. So does she. The night deepens. The world exhales. Time slows until it feels like something living, breathing gently between each heartbeat. Maeve sets the empty cup aside and folds her hands together on her lap. There's no hurry to move, no need to fill the silence. The silence is the comfort. It wraps around her like a blanket made of air and starlight. She looks up once more. The sky vast, endless, but somehow familiar. Every star looks different tonight, yet everyone feels known. Perhaps it's always been this way. The heavens waiting for someone to look up and simply notice. She smiles. If peace had a shape, it would look like this moment. If love had no words, it would sound like the breathing of sheep and the quiet hum of distant stars. And as her eyes grow heavy, the thought lingers in her mind that maybe she doesn't keep watch over the night at all. Maybe the night keeps watch over her. The night holds its breath. Even the wind has gone quiet. And for a long while, Maeve simply sits in the glow of her lantern, watching how the light trembles against the dark. Then, without warning, a single streak of silver cuts across the sky. It begins as a whisper, a shimmer at the edge of sight, then blooms into brilliance, trailing gold behind it like the memory of fire. Maeve inhales softly. The falling star moves so quickly, yet for that brief moment, it feels as though time itself has paused to see it pass. She doesn't make a wish. She only smiles. The kind of smile that doesn't need to be seen. There are things in this world that exist just to remind us of wonder. They don't promise anything, don't demand belief. They simply are. She whispers, "Thank you for still finding your way through the dark." The echo of her words fades into the air. Somewhere, a sheep stirs in its sleep. Finn lifts his head for a moment, then rests it again on his paws. Above, the trail of light lingers, slowly dissolving into the deep velvet sky. But Maeve keeps looking, because even after it's gone, she can still feel its warmth, like the afterglow of kindness. And for a moment longer, the night feels full of gentle company. Maeve stands, stretching her legs slowly. The lantern's flame has burned low, a small, steady glow, trembling with each breath of wind. She walks to the fence and looks upward once more. The stars shimmer faintly above her, countless and calm, and for a heartbeat, she notices something. A single star directly above her lantern, mirroring its light. Two lights, she thinks. One for the sky, and one for the earth. She smiles. Somewhere out there, someone might see this small flame from afar and feel less alone. She doesn't know who, and that doesn't matter. It's enough that it shines. The flame wavers once, then steadies again, a quiet promise a pulse of warmth in the cool air. Maeve turns to go inside, leaving the lantern to burn a little longer. Behind her, it glows softly against the dark, a reminder that even the smallest light can keep the world company for a while. The hills lie still beneath the weight of starlight. The flock has long since quieted, their breathing soft and even, a lullaby made of wool and air. Finn curls near the doorway, his tail tucked close, his chest rising in calm rhythm. Maeve steps inside the small stone hut, closing the wooden door halfway, not to keep the world out, but to let the night breathe through the crack. The room smells faintly of smoke and tea. She sets her boots by the wall, hangs her coat, and sits on the narrow bed. The mattress creaks, a familiar sound, comforting as the ticking of a clock. Through the window, the lantern's glow flickers softly. It paints a warm reflection across the glass, like a little sun that refuses to sleep. Beyond it, the stars drift slowly westward, their light spreading across the valley in quiet silver threads. Maeve lies down, pulling the wool blanket over her shoulders. The fabric smells faintly of grass and rain. Her body sinks into the stillness, into the soft hum of life around her. Outside, the wind moves gently through the meadow. A few leaves brush against the fence, their rustle blending with the low murmur of sheep bells. The night folds everything into one deep, steady breath. Maeve's eyes close. Her last thought drifts like a whisper that somewhere out there, the stars are keeping watch, patient, quiet, kind. The lantern burns a little longer, its glow dimming by degrees, until it's hard to tell where its light ends and the starlight begins. And then all that remains is rest. The meadow sleeps. The world is safe. And time, for a while, simply breathes.